also need to splot his knife.
Is it just like a wood? Yeah, that's probably the easiest.
No lofty goals. And I think with this house, we may just need to we might even put the slot on now. We might want his permission before we go forward.
Oh, you had me at squatting. I've been squatted on before, so.
That's what they say, but I feel like it's just like that concept. Okay. And it goes this way. And he'll be.
You might as well start.
If all goes to plan,
It's a
he'll be
long
holding
day.
his house up.
It's a
Maybe
long
we'll
day.
have to hold up.
They'll sit down.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome all to our service from the Unitarian Society of Northampton and Florence. I'm Ed Olmsted, and I'm past president of the society for the next 2 hours or so, and then I move from that. It's wonderful to see you here this morning in the Great Hall and online. Thank you to everyone who is helping make this service happen. If you're new or returning after a time away, we're very glad you're here. Feel free to fill out a blue welcome card, which you can put in the offering plate later in the service. And it looks like this. I lost my place. Let's see. Okay, there's also an online version that you can find through the link in the chat. We'll put you on our email list if you fill this out so you can receive information about all of our activities. We strive to be a congregation that welcomes people of all ages, races, religious beliefs, backgrounds, sexual orientations, gender identities, and abilities. We belong to the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations, and we are guided and inspired by its values and principles. Our values and principles move us to remember that we in Northampton inhabit unceded land of the Nonotuck, Pecumtuck, and Western Nipmuc peoples. They remind us to acknowledge our responsibilities, to face the legacies of dispossession and systemic racism that are part of our collective history, even as we also affirm and celebrate the legacies that inspire us. Today is Annual Meeting Sunday. The meeting will begin shortly after the end of the service. Everyone is welcome to stay, and childcare is available. If you're on Zoom, you will not need to sign out and in again. We're using the same link for both the service and the annual meeting. And now we will begin our service.
If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer, if you're a pretender, come sit by my fire, for we have some flax golden tales to spin. Come in, come in, come in.
Please join me in reading our words for lighting the chalice. You can rise as you're willing and able, and stay standing for the song. We light our chalice in celebration. May we be reminded of our highest aspirations. May we bring our gifts of love and service. May we know that we are not alone, but connected to the universe, to this community, to each other.
We have any new, oh, Kent, I see you. Today we're recognizing and extending our welcome to new members, anyone who has joined the society since the annual meeting last May. So I invite everyone who's here in that category to come forward. Oh, who's back there? Jean is back there. I see you. Kent. I know, I'm seeing if anybody else. All right, well, there are lots of people who aren't here, so we're welcoming Guile Bay, Eric Broadbent, Joyce Bull, Rebecca Curzon, Emily and Matthew Drake, Caitlin Elsesser, Jeremy Gantz, Abe Gelvine, Kent Johnson, who's here, Hope and Ivan Crew, Margot Lanoy, who is here. No, Margot's not here.
She's on Zoom.
Margot on Zoom. Jean Libby, who's here. Hope O'Shaughnessy and John Weissmore. Lots of people, you are there. And Eva, you joined right before the annual meeting. It's okay, we love you. We're glad you're here. We'll welcome you again. Yeah. So, Stephanie. Where's Stephanie? Stephanie? Yeah, you have a job. No. Come here. Okay.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I'm Stephanie Baird, and the congregation's president. I'll be talking to you later this afternoon as well. I'm pleased to welcome you this morning. UU Minister Lawrence McGinty wrote, "To this house we come bringing our boldest dreams, seeking here the inspiration and strength to make them be. To this house we come hoping to bury our broken dreams and to be sustained through the pain they have caused us. Here we seek challenges and commitments that may lead to greater wholeness and deeper meanings."
And my name is Laurel Foster Moore, and I'm co-chair of the Newcomer Connections team. And I, too, am very happy and grateful to be welcoming all of you as new members today, and everybody on Zoom. Reverend McGinty also wrote that this is a strange place, this house, where we cry, we sing, laugh, hurt, dance, touch, survive, celebrate, grow, search, doubt, hope, rejoice, pray, trust, care, learn, think, wonder, be, and become. And this is a wonderful place where we are all welcome and where we welcome one another.
So now it's time. I invite you all to rise in body or spirit, and we're going to affirm our welcome. The first part is for the new members, and I'll read it with you so that everybody can hear the words. We enter this community with hope and possibility in our hearts, pledging to participate and support the work of this congregation. And we are grateful for your welcome. Congregation, we welcome you as we were once welcomed ourselves, and we are glad that you have joined us. We seek to appreciate your gifts and ideas, to be supportive when you need help, and to reach out to you when we are in need. We welcome you as members of this congregation, of this faith, and of our shared spiritual journey. Everyone, we covenant to remain true to the spirit of love that flows through this community and guides us. And let's sing like 2 verses, maybe just a quick twice through of "Where you go, I will go, my beloved. Where you go, I will go." Thank you all. You may be seated. You all set? Little boxes? Little boxes. Mr. Plumbean lived on a street where all the houses were the same. He liked it that way, and so did everybody else on Mr. Plumbean's street. This is a neat street, they would say. Then one day, a seagull flew over Mr. Plumbean's house. He was carrying a can of bright orange paint. Nobody knows why. And he dropped the can, no one knows why, right over Mr. Plumbean's house. Plop! It made a big orange splot on Mr. Plumbean's house. Oh, too bad, everybody said. Say, oh, too bad. Mr. Plumbean will have to paint his house again. I suppose I will, said Mr. Plumbean. But he didn't paint his house right away. He looked at that big orange spot for a long time, and then he went about his business. And the neighbors got tired of seeing that big orange spot, and someone said, Mr. Plumbean, we wish you would get around to painting your house. So he got some paint, and that night he got busy. He painted at night because it was cooler then. He carefully mixed different colors to make just the right shade of brown. And when the paint was gone, he had painted some of the house brown and some blue, and the big orange spot was still there. And then he got some tools and he decided to make his house 150 stories with a lot of space for a kitchen and playrooms. And there was a big slide right in the middle of the house, and the big orange spot was still there. And in the morning, we need some neighbors now, other people on the street came out of their houses. We need some neighbors. Come on, neighbors, what do you think? Mr. Plumbean's house was like a tower. It was like an amazing castle. It was like a fantasy. Oh yeah, this neighbor is cranky. The people said, Plumbean has popped his cork, flipped his wig, blown his stack, and dropped his stopper, and they went away muttering. That day, Mr. Plumbean got even more carpenter's tools, and that night, they did even more work on his house. And the next day, people, they said, Plumbean has gushed his mush, he has lost his marbles, he has slipped his hawser, whatever that is. They decided they would pretend not to notice because their houses looked all the same and they liked it that way. We could sing that song if you want. Little boxes on the hillside, little boxes, little boxes, just to say see there are different versions of this house. Well, the next night, as you can see, Mr. Plumbean got a truck full of green things. He planted palm trees and baobabs and thorn bushes and onions and frangipani, and he bought lawn furniture and an alligator. And when other people came out of their houses, they saw Mr. Plumbean sitting in his lawn chair between two palm trees. They saw an alligator lying in the grass. It's hiding, actually, but they can see it. Mr. Plumbean was drinking lemonade, and they said, Plumbean has gone too far. This used to be a neat street. Plumbean, what have you done to your house? And Mr. Plumbean said, my house is me, and I am it. My house is where I like to be, and it looks like all my dreams. The neighbors shook their heads and muttered among themselves, because their houses looked all the same and they liked it that way. And now it's time for us to greet one another, say hello to everyone on Zoom. Hello, everyone on Zoom. Hello, everyone on Zoom. Hello, Zoomers. Hey, CB Beal. Great to see you. Hi, Diane. Hi, Kim. I can see you up there, too. Naomi, Claire, Rick, great to see you. Hi, Julie. Hi, Brian. Who else is there? Hi, Julie. I hope Vermont is still nice. Steve, Teresa, Chris, great to see you. Hi, Rebecca. Welcome, Rebecca. Who else? Hey, Lori. Good to see you. Hi, Georgia. Hi, Eleanor. Wonderful to see you all. Mimi, Greg, Chris, Gail and John, Shane, Peggy, Chris Stetson, Sally, Catherine. Wow, my screen goes on and on. Who did I miss? Beth, Linda. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to see you all this morning. I'm really glad to see you all. And now we will move this show along, I think. Bill Diamond, do you have something to say? I know.
This is about the eighth principle. Please join the Springfield Climate Justice Coalition, UU Mass Action, Mass Power Forward, Climate Action Now, and CAG to rally in support of energy infrastructure, siting reform, and against new natural gas infrastructure the day after tomorrow, Tuesday, May 21st at 5 p.m. in Springfield. Siting reform is important and relates to the eighth principle because a hugely disproportionate amount of dangerous and polluting energy infrastructure ends up located in which neighborhoods? Think about environmental justice. So working for change here is a direct application of the eighth principle. You can see a website to sign up or ride in a carpool or get information in a recent Sunday Times, but this is easier. Email CAG, C-A-G, at uunorthampton.org, and we'll get the information to you. So it's important, and it's the eighth principle. CAG at uunorthampton.org. Thanks.
Little problem with our props this morning, sorry. Every week we take an offering to support organizations outside of our community, which are chosen by members of the congregation, and the work that we do within our own society. Your generosity, all of our generosity, is what makes everything we do possible. And our morning offering will now be given and very gratefully received.
puts forth new life again. Green grasses grow and flowers lift their heads, and over all of the plain the wonder spreads of life, of life, of life. Time of silver rain, the earth puts forth new life again. Green grasses grow and flowers lift their heads, and over all the plain the wondrous strands of as down the roadway, passing boys and girls go singing too. As down the roadway, passing boys and girls go singing too. Time of silver rain, when spring and life are new. In time of silver rain, when spring and life are new. In time of silver rain, when spring and life are new. In time of silver rain, when spring and life are new. In time of silver rain, when spring and life are new. In time of silver rain. In time of
All right, all you wonderful neighbors can come back now. I didn't want anybody to step on you. It's your...
Thank you all. As you remember, when we stopped our story, the people were really not happy with Mr. Plumbean and his incredible house and beautiful yard. So they asked the person who lived next door to him, who happened to be named Jazzy, to go and sit and have a talk with Mr. Plumbean. Tell him that we liked it here before he changed his house. Tell him that his house has to be the same as ours, so we can have a neat street. The woman went to see Mr. Plumbean that evening, and they sat under the palm trees drinking lemonade and talking all night long. And as the night wore on, Jazzy seemed to relax a little bit, enjoy her conversation. And early the next morning, the woman went out to get lumber and rope and nails and paint. When the people came out of their houses, they saw, you can get your new house, Jazzy. They saw a pink and purple house with an enormous slide and a trampoline on the roof. "What have you done to your house?" the neighbors shouted. Feel free to join in with however you're feeling about this house. She'd always loved trampolines and pink. "My house is me and I am it. My house is where I like to be and it looks like all my dreams." "She's just like Plumbean," the people said. "She's got bees in her bonnet, bats in her belfry, and knots in her noodle." And one by one, people went to talk to Mr. Plumbean at night. Nairi, would you like? Oh, go ahead, Elaine. Come on up, Nairi. All right. Try to talk to this Mr. Plumbean, convince him. Uh-oh, I don't know who's convincing who. They would sit under the palm trees and drink lemonade and talk about their dreams. And whenever anybody visited Mr. Plumbean's house the very next day, and you can go do it, Nairi. And if anybody else wants to sit in the chair and then get a dream house, you're welcome to. So they would sit and chat, and the very next day, that person would change their house to fit their dreams. So. And there are extra dream houses if anybody wants to come up and hold one. Go ahead. So, as you can imagine, things change very fast on this neat street. Every morning, they would go out to find new houses that fit the neighbors' dreams. Sometimes strangers would come by the street where Mr. Plumbean and his neighbors lived. And whenever that happened, the stranger would say, "This is not a neat street." And all the people in the neighborhood would say, "Our street is us and we are it. Our street is where we like to be and it looks like all our dreams." Thank you so much to all of our actors and artists that made the houses.
Yeah, do the meditation now.
And you may have noticed that we switched the order around a little bit. So the next part of our service is the meditation. And I invite you all to get comfortable. If you can, sit so you feel grounded. You can imagine a string pulling your head up, aligning your body. You can feel your feet on the ground. And if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes and just notice how you're feeling. Take a breath and feel the air moving in and out of your lungs, your chest, your nose. Pause and be present here. Now I invite you to imagine a place that you love to be. Maybe a place that looks like all your dreams, a place you visited, a place far from home, or maybe even right at home, or maybe even right here in this sanctuary. Think of a place where you feel utterly yourself, completely at peace and at home. Imagine that you're there now. Can you feel what it feels like to be there? What does it feel like? What do you hear? What does the air smell like? In your mind, look around and see all the sights. Is there anyone there with you? Do you see some of your dreams in this place? Or maybe it's just a place where you feel free to dream. Take some deep breaths and see if you can relax into presence in this place in your mind. And we'll take a few minutes together in silence. This is a brief excerpt from Prayer for This Church by Nancy Schaefer. May those sheltered here sometimes laugh out loud for joy. May those sometimes cry all at once, letting tear water clean what words by themselves cannot. In silent times, may everyone present hear everyone else breathing. And know that this is not separate from how the world breathes all night. May we always have room for those who want to come in.
Now I invite you to rise in body or spirit and sing hymn number 305, De Coloris. So maybe someone noticed that quite a bit of today's service, some of the hymns, the opening, the reading, which was slightly longer before, and some of what I'm about to say, I have unashamedly borrowed from myself. I borrowed them from the service here on May 3rd, 2009, which was the end of my candidating week. Many of you were here that day. Many of you are new since then. Some of you are new today. Candidating week is the culmination of a congregation's process to call a new settled minister. So during the tenure of your new interim minister, you will at some point form a search committee to identify candidates for the next longer-term settled position. And the committee's chosen candidate will come for a week in late spring of 2026. They will conduct a service on their first service here. They'll meet as many people as possible over the following week, and then they'll preach again on the second Sunday. And then, if all goes well, the congregation will vote to call them as the new minister. So for my own second candidating Sunday service, we read the big orange splot and we displayed houses that children in the RE program had made. You know, Eva Wigan-Whittier was one of those kindergartners at the time, as was Alice Wanamaker and Eliza, and who else was there? Madeline, I think Madeline was there also. So they're all grown up now. Was Gabriella, were you there? Okay, Gabriella was there too. And here they are, 15 years later. Our Unitarian Society of Northampton and Florence is not a neat street, but our street is us, and we are our street, and as its best, it looks like our dreams. So what do you think? What's better, neat or not so neat? And who decides? So you know what happened on Mr. Plumbean Street after the seagull opened its beak and the paint came down in that big orange splot on his house? First, he had to decide what to do. And he could have seen what his neighbor saw, which was a mess. And he could have run out to the hardware store to get some paint remover to clean it up. But he didn't. He waited. And maybe he did some discernment. Possibly, this was not in the first sermon, possibly with people not mentioned in the story who were good listeners. We'll never know. The splot helped Mr. Plumbean decide that it was time to do something new, and by the end of the story, everyone on the street is happy that his or her or their own house looks like their dreams, and they're happy that everyone else has a dream house too. As Unitarian Universalists, we are called to honor and respect differences and to celebrate them. And I have a much deeper understanding of what that means than we did, I think, the first time we built orange splot houses in this building. I think many of you have a deeper understanding of what that means, that it's not merely about being tolerant of other people's beliefs and other ways of doing things, but it's actually about being receptive to how those other ideas and ways of doing things can expand our own horizons, can deepen our own understandings, can make our lives richer, might help us see things and do things in new ways. And so one of the things I've learned a lot more about how differences among us can change us in important and profound ways. And the founders of the Florence Society back in 1863, with the part of their founding credo on that back wall, said in their founding documents, "We neither demand nor expect uniformity of doctrinal belief, and we ask only unity of purpose, to seek and accept the right and true, and an honest aim and effort to make these the rule of life." Now that's maybe a little old-fashioned way of putting things, but I think the second part of that statement is really important. To seek what's right and true and make it our rule of life. In simpler words, I think it means to try to understand, do our best to understand what is as kind and fair as it can be and we can possibly make it, and to act in accordance with all of our values. And as a community, whether we make it explicitly or not, we make that agreement with one another. It's what covenant is all about. The UU historian Conrad Wright says, our covenant is renewed every time a new person joins. And we actually put the word in this. We covenant to remain true to the spirit of love that flows through the community and guides us. We put that in our welcome. Our covenant is also renewed every time we ask ourselves how we're doing, when we celebrate our accomplishments or notice where we wish we were doing better, when we forgive each other and decide to try again. And it's renewed in the ways we listen to each other, to our hopes and dreams, and when we celebrate rather than worry if things are not so neat. So in just a few minutes, we'll hold our annual meeting where we'll hear some brief reports. You will vote to elect new people to serve on the board and in other positions and approve the budget for next year. And attending that meeting is another way of affirming our covenant. I hope many of you will be able to stay. As we've said, non-members are very welcome, and there is a process for signing in if you're a member. We just need to make sure we have a quorum, which we will. So, channeling long ago in the spirit of Shel Silverstein and my grandfather Carl, who both liked doggerel and to make funny line drawings. If neatness means uniform, may we never be neat. Never like plum beans pre-Seagull Splot Street. We gather for stories, for wonder, for song. We ponder, we act. Our commitments are strong. And we're still in pursuit of what's right and true. Here we go. And I have been blessed by the years I've been here, sharing them with all of you. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and sing hymn number 1. May nothing evil cross this door. now, as I said, we hope you will stay for annual meeting. Everyone is invited. And if you are leaving now, go in hope and in peace. Are we using clipboards? Where's someone, Steph, are we using clipboards for signing? Okay, so there's an easy process for signing in, and the meeting will start in 10 minutes. Yeah, little bit of a break, and then the meeting will begin. Go in peace.
Hello, folk on Zoom. I invite you to stay with us. You can now turn on your videos. Yes. You can now turn on your videos. I invite you to stay with us. We're going to put you into breakout rooms so that you can be counted for the quorum. Then you'll come back here for the annual meeting. So I'm going to put all of you into breakout rooms, and then either Rick King or Julie Chandler will check out and get a number of members in your breakout room. So hang in there. I'm now going to create the breakout rooms after I stop the recording.